What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Federico Show. That's Nick Taggio. I'm Daniel Federico. We got a couple good topics today. We're going to talk about the Toronto Blue Jays preseason preview over there. We're going to talk a little bit about Liverpool legend Mo Salah leaving at the end of the season, and we're going to be talking about some NIL in college. How we're going to fix college. We're going to fix college football today, and we're going to fix NIL. But yeah, let's get into it. This is the Daniel Federico Show. All right, guys, welcome in to today's show. Starting off with some bad news if you're a Liverpool fan, or actually, I wouldn't even say bad news, right? I would say sad news that Mo Salah will be leaving after 9 years wearing a Liverpool jersey after 435 matches playing with Liverpool. He is leaving at the end of the season, 33 years old. Honestly, we got spoiled in the last 9 years. He won everything. He is a Liverpool legend. He has won everything, every trophy imaginable that you can win as a club with Liverpool, and he's done that. And also his individual awards, awards, numerous Golden Boots awards. Mo Salah, in my eyes, is the best winger in Premier League history, and he's the best Liverpool player to wear the crest. That's how much Mo Salah means to this club of Liverpool. And you could call me delusional saying that he's the best winger in the Premier League, but no, the stats say otherwise. The numbers say otherwise, and I'm a big stats guy when it comes to soccer, because that's the only thing you can put your name behind is goals and assists and wins. And he's done all of it. He's checked every single box. Mo Salah, Liverpool legend. Sad to see him go. Next to go is probably, sad enough, is going to be Virgil. And then it's going to be Alisson. The golden era of Liverpool. It was the greatest time to be a Liverpool fan. It is coming to an end, sadly. But what a time it was to be a Liverpool fan. Champions League, 2 Premier League Cups, an FA Cup, a Carabao Cup, cups. Revived Liverpool. But Klopp did it. Now Klopp left. That was sad. Mo Salah leaving. That's even more sad. It's going to be a emotional rest of the season. And it's going to be a fantastic farewell for Mo Salah as a Liverpool legend. I'm going to miss him. I'm going to guess he's going to go to Saudi, the MLS. You said a good point today, Nick. Turkey, potentially. So, what do you think about Mo Salah leaving Liverpool?
Um, I mean, it's probably right for both parties at this point in his career. And at this point in Liverpool's trajectory as a club, like things are pretty murky. And like you said, he is 33. So he's not he is getting up there in age, but he wasn't what you would consider to be old per se. Like he still has tons of quality left in him. It's just not Liverpool of old, when he came 2017, when he scored like 42 goals in all competitions, like that Mo Salah is gone. But Liverpool as a club is also going through some change. Arne Slot is, if you haven't noticed, going through it right now in the media. He's kind of there's a lot of hate, but then there's a lot of people who are saying no, like give him another chance, give him a couple more give him a couple more chances, give him the Champions League at least, is what I'm hearing, because after all, they are going to the quarterfinal. So, and that is something to be said. But when you look at the team as a whole, they're not what they used to be. And I agree with you. Like this is probably actually, if you think about it, he wasn't the first of that group to go, because Sadio Mane and Trent just left too. So that kind of kickstarted the whole kind of crumble of the older Liverpool dynasty, because that's what they were, all things considered. And unless you're Real Madrid, these things tend to come to an end. And this is, I wouldn't necessarily say that this is coming to an end in that Liverpool is going to have to rebuild everything from here on out, because they do have tons of quality. It's just more so, refurbishing the parts of the roster that need it so that they could consistently, contend with your Arsenals, Manchester Cities, maybe even Manchester United, with the way that these things are, this season is going. But yeah, this is just something that needed to happen, and I do agree he is the best winger in Premier League history. He's not the best player, but he is the best winger. That mantle goes to Thierry Henry. But yeah, just looking at the third in Liverpool history for scoring. The only two guys ahead of him are Ian Rush at one, obviously, 346, and then Roger Hunt a ways away behind him with 285. And he won the Premier League Golden Boot 4 times. So he was the top scorer in probably the toughest league in Europe, physically, for sure, 4 times in a 9-year span. So congratulations, Mo Salah, for probably one of the 5 greatest runs in terms of a career run in one league in world football history. So there you go. But I do think that he is going to go somewhere else. He's going to play for a few more seasons, and that place is going to pay him a lot of money, which is why I think it is either going to be Turkey going to the Super League, or the MLS, who just got Antoine Griezmann as of the last.
Yeah, Orlando City.
Orlando City just got Antoine Griezmann, so they're building something out there with the MLS. And then the Saudi Pro League, we obviously know they just have money. They could just
yeah, they're gonna pay him $1 trillion to go there. But it's safe to say that he's not gonna side with I could see him going to La Liga too. Not La Liga, I mean League One.
I mean, yeah,
it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be softer competition. But he's not gonna go to La Liga, or he's not staying in the Prem. He's for sure going to either Saudi, or I doubt he even goes to the MLS. I think Saudi will be the number one.
I think it's Saudi or Turkey. I mean, like, if he was to go to League One, it wouldn't be PSG, just because that roster is ready to go, and he just simply wouldn't be able to he wouldn't be able to crack the lineup. So if you were to go to League One, I think it would be to Lyon. Honestly, now that I'm just thinking about it right now, what about Marseille? Marseille is a club that has been, billed for a while to challenge PSG consistently as the best team in France, and they just haven't done it. They just fired De Zerbi, their head coach.
Yeah.
And they're going through it. But that's a great team to play for. That's a great football city. What about Marseille?
I like that. I really like that. That's a great idea. And honestly, like, as you say it more and more, like, there's still it's going to be a lot of money. Salah is at the point. We've seen this with many players nowadays. They're going to go and get the bag for one final year, right? For the one final run. Like, he's not retiring. He's probably going to play for 7 more years. He's probably going to play till he's 40 in some lower level leagues. But he still has some competitive spirits in him, and he's still, I would not say he's top of his game like it was 2 years ago. But he's still good enough to play in a very competitive league. So I really like that idea of him going over there to Marseille. It just depends on if he want to, where does he want to go at the end of the day? And I could see him, because of his heritage and all that. It's going to be Saudi or Turkey. That's just the final thing. I think he's going to try and go to, I don't know, because we saw Mane leave to Saudi, former teammates. I don't even know where Firmino is right now. I want to say Firmino's. Do you know where Firmino is right now?
I think he's in Brazil.
Is he in Brazil? Yeah, I think he went back to.
I don't think he's playing anymore. Let me look it up, because
I don't think he retired though.
Well, I don't know. I just thought I saw him doing something else.
But I know when Mane left for Saudi.
No, he's actually he's in Qatar.
Oh, that's right. He's in this. I think he's in the same league that Hulk used to play in, or was that China?
Hulk used to play in China. No, you know what I was thinking about today? It wasn't Firmino. It was just when. Do you remember Dimitri Payet?
Mm-hmm. Dimitri Payet?
Yeah, because he played in Brazil. Like he really wanted to play in Brazil because he's just a big soccer fan, and like obviously Brazil soccer, it just goes hand in hand. So he wanted to have the experience, but recently retired. So that's what I was thinking of. My apologies.
Oh, you're chilling. But yeah, like I think he is. I think he just does the same run of Mane, go play in Saudi, make a lot of money, um, and have a blast and come into an average career. But for the most part, though, it's gonna be so sad to see him go. It's the players that have been with Mo Salah for numerous years now. Some players with him for all 9 years. This Liverpool team, if you look at their roster from Champions League to now, they're all gone except Virgil. Super sad on that. That's a very sad moment for Liverpool's. I would like to say it's their golden era that they've seen in a decade. In a decade.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure in a decade.
Post Gerrard, you know that.
Post Gerrard. But yeah, post Gerrard. So yeah, it's been a decade. A little bit less. Yeah, a little bit less. The golden era is done. But no, but with all big signs, like all the big signings that Liverpool signed last year, Frimpong, Wirtz, Etiqueta, Isak, and Isak should be coming back from injury. Hopefully he plays good when he comes back from injury. I think he's going to be tremendous next season. And then now who they signed to, let's see who's going to replace Mo Salah next year. They're going to have to go spend someone big. There's going to be this whole team is going to be changed. But like I'm saying, it's going to be so different with Salah not on the field next year, not on the pitch next season, wearing a Liverpool crest. It's just going to be very weird, very awkward. But I just know once he retires, there better be a statue outside Anfield with Mo Salah. This guy, and I wouldn't say single-handedly, but with his magical foot, he damn near did bring Liverpool to the promised land, winning 2 Carabao Cups, an FA Cup, a League Cup, two Premier League Cups, a Champions League, numerous individual awards. There better be a statue of Mo Salah outside of Anfield in 5 years or whenever he retires, before he passes away in 70, 80, whatever years. There better be a statue in front of Anfield.
100%. Club legend. Wouldn't go as far as to say he's the best player to ever play for the club, but I would say that he's definitely in the top 5, perhaps within the top 3. I just can't put him above Gerrard, and I also don't know if I can put him above Kenny Dalglish, the Scottish striker from back in the day. But, Daniel, I have to ask you, this does beg the question, does this mean that Arne Slot is going to use this as an opportunity to put 17-year-old Rio Gamoa, the Wonder Kid, in the lineup?
100%. I think
the Scouser Max Dowman.
I think Rio's gonna have to get that spot right there. I don't know. Like Slot is so unpredictable. I like to say on what is gonna happen with the squad. He's changed it up a lot within the last 2 years. No, actually, within this season, he's changed it up a lot more than he did last year. But with Rio, that kid's awesome.
Yeah, he's so good.
That kid is just impressive. But I said like last week, and I probably was taking it out of context a little bit, that like you must lose trust. Like I said, Slot must lose trust in a lot of players to play an 18-year-old or play a 17-year-old in Rio a lot consistently. Yeah, well, that's how it started. He lost trust, and I think it was Endo, and that's when it all started. So he did, but I like him. I like Rio a lot. Let's see if he's ready for consistent 90 minutes, consistent 60, 70 minutes. Let's see that. I think this is the season that they find out. It for sure is. But with Salah gone next year, Um, I don't know. I don't even know who they're like targeting right now. I haven't looked at any of like wingers or in a long time because when Mo Salah signed his contract last year, and it was a 2-year deal, I was like, oh, we have a year left with him after this season to go and look for a winger. I didn't even never crossed my mind to go Google or search up who Liverpool is targeting. So I couldn't even tell you who's going to play on the wing next year. But Rio, I would say, because he's already playing consistent minutes right off the bench, he'd probably be the best shot. But overall, I don't know who they would go and sign. I'd have to do my research on that one. I just don't know why. Today I was so busy on Twitter just watching old highlights of Mo Salah that my whole Twitter feed is just absolutely flooded with that. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna be excited to see how the squad goes next year. Um, I wouldn't be surprised too, like Frimpong too. See how he is in the second year. But Isak, like, what if they move Isak outside? It's kind of right in the middle alone.
Wouldn't do that just because I don't know how much. I don't think he did that very much at Newcastle. He plied his trade, but slot could change his formation a little bit, and he could play. He could play Isak as he could play Isak and Ekitike as dual strikers, but just have Isak slightly in front of Ekitike, play him a bit more closer to goal.
They could do that.
Or vice versa. I think Ekitike will probably be a little bit better closer to goal just because he's got like the size to poach a goal from various different angles, whether it's like he's got those long legs and he can get up there. I've seen him jump. So I think that's what you do. But yeah, I mean, in terms of going out and buying a winger, I don't know who you would do as of right now. I as well would have to do my research. But Rio, I definitely give him the benefit of the doubt right now, given the fact that he is a homegrown product and you guys have a pretty good track record of doing that with
Yeah.
you know.
But like I just find him so young and being that young, and if you dominate that young in the Premier League, you're a different player. But I think Slot's hesitant on him. It seems like he's been hesitant on him all year. So I think
By the start of next year. So
yeah. But but for this season, I think Slot's just been so hesitant on him because he showed so much promise, and he showed that he deserves more minutes. That's what he has shown Slot, and they haven't given it to him. Still consistent minutes off the bench. When you're 17, turning 18 years old, you're gonna be happy with that. As of next season now, there's some ginormous shoes to fill of Mo Salah, a club legend, and Slot's most likely going to be on the hot seat next year if they don't do anything. So,
yeah. Or if they don't make Champions League this year, maybe
nah, I don't see them firing him at all. At all.
But the question will be brought up.
Yeah, but the question is brought up for every manager though. Like when they don't make Champions League, or it comes up all the time. But with Liverpool, they're so loyal to their managers and they're so loyal to their players that 1 year it didn't work out. Now next season you have to make it work. And that's exactly what's gonna happen. Let's say they don't make Champions League next season. They have to go win Europa League. That's pretty much it. Like they have to make Champions League and go win Europa League,
or very least like semifinal.
No, yeah, semifinals, finals. Yeah, it has to be a minimum semifinals.
Yeah.
But for sure in a top 4 spot next season also. If not, you can see Slot on his exit. At that point, the sample size is ginormous. I would say this is the real true this is the true year 1 of Slot this season, just because it's literally his entire system. Everything is him this season. Nothing to do with Klopp. Some of it is Klopp's boys, but most of the part it is now Slot's boys, his play style, all of it. Clearly has not worked this season in the Premier League. So next season he's going to be on the hot seat from that first play, from their international tournament that they're going to be playing in the preseason tournament and in the States next year, he's going to be on the hot seat. And to be honest, rightfully so. But if they somehow, because it's Mo Salah's last year now it's going to be his farewell, all I'm saying is if Liverpool somehow gets a cup, because they're still in the FA Cup, get a trophy somehow this year, slot's good for the next 2 years. But if they go trophyless this year, no Champions League, no nothing, and they exit in this round of the Champions League, most likely they will, slot will be on the hot seat next year. But if they win the FA Cup, or if they make it past this round, slot's good for 2 more years.
I was just gonna say if they make it past this round, I would see that more than an FA Cup, just because in terms of like the competitions that English teams have to play, Champions League and the Premier League are infinitely more valuable than the FA Cup or the
yeah. But trophies are what makes you a successful club. So if they win a trophy this year,
but I would say more so than the trophy, beating PSG.
Yeah, PSG. Yeah.
They're hitting a fire right now. Right now they're doing what they did last year, where they just start to like become the best team in the world, and then all of those players like play at the top of their game. And they're so young, and it's just if they've managed to beat PSG, I'm gonna say Slot's the guy going forward.
Yeah. Like if they beat PSG, Slot can stay for 5 more years, 6 more years, 10 more years. Go do whatever you want to do. But it's going to be a different Liverpool squad. It's been different each year, but next year it's for sure gonna. I think it's gonna hit a lot more fans when they don't see Mo Salah come out of that tunnel next year, and it's gonna be like, wow, we lost Mane, Firmino, Klopp, now Salah. Then we're gonna most likely lose Virgil and Alisson, just the age-wise. Virgil, I could see him playing another year because he is the captain. But I truly have no idea where any of their headspace is at. Like Mo Salah, you could have like felt, you could like feel it was coming, right? Like after like how the start of the season where he was kind of getting benched at times, and he was losing trust with Slot, and it clearly shows that he's now fully lost trust in Slot. You could just feel it coming. With Virgil, you can't really tell how long he's going to be staying. Alisson, I think just because of his injury troubles, he's probably going to be on the way out. But yeah, the golden era is officially over in Liverpool, but we got to move on. Let's talk about what this episode is basically all based off of. The Toronto Blue Jays open up their season this week. It's going to be a tremendous year, but after a 94-68 year last season, first in the division, runners up, losing in the World Series in one of the most entertaining World Series that we have seen probably in a long time. I would say maybe 7 years, 5 years.
History.
In history. We could go history. I thought history was going to be a little far-fetched coming out of my mouth, but I agree with you. I could totally agree with you on that one. Yeah. Especially that an 18-inning game.
That's not even real. Like you see that in a movie. Like that's history.
But yeah, not Liverpool. Oh my God, we were just talking about Liverpool a little bit. But Toronto Blue Jays are about to open up their season. First, I'm absolutely pumped up. This team, they lost Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette doesn't look good with the Mets. Does not look good with the Mets. So I'm pumped up for him to go. But you know what? I think this pitching rotation got 10 times better this offseason. Here is the pitching rotation, the opening day pitching rotation. And mind you, Ye Savage is on the IL for the next 15 days. Kevin Gausman, newly additioned Dylan Cease, Eric Lauer. What's up?
He's a record signing, Dylan Cease.
Yeah. Dylan Cease is going to be awesome. Eric Lauer, Cody Ponce, excited to see how he does. And Max Scherzer, 41 years old. Mad Max. For the Toronto Blue Jays. when you Savage comes back, I don't know where he's gonna slot in. Um, but he's hurt for the next 15 days. I could not tell you where E Savage is gonna go. He's obviously probably gonna go probably right after Dylan Cease. But what a rotation. You add E Savage in there. You add that kid in there. This is for sure the best pitcher rotation in the AL East, but it could be top four. It might even arguably be the best in the AL and the whole American League.
And then throw Shane Bieber in there.
Yeah, Shane Bieber in there too.
We're praying. He's got a really bad forearm issue, and it looks like the earliest he can come back or could be May, and that's really kind of reaching. So we're hoping that he's going to be back sooner rather than later, because if anything, the 2020 Cy Young winner, the guy adds postseason depth, and I think that is one of the issues that, you know, we were literally this close from winning that World Series, but I believe there were factors that had we fixed in the previous offseason, perhaps it wouldn't have been so close, because the Dodgers had their issues too. And I think pitching depth was one of them for us. So I love the Cease signing. I'm worried because he is the highest paid free agent pitcher for the Jays in franchise history. But we still have Gosman. Hoffman, we're hoping he can have a little bit of a career turnaround.
But look how good that bullpen is going to be this year, because they also added Tyler Rogers too.
Yeah, Tyler Rogers. They also got him too. Barrios, he's got a stress fracture in his elbow, so that's going to be a bit more of a weight.
And the tough thing too this season, already having injuries, is Anthony Santander is going to be out for a while.
Yeah, that's the thing that's kind of hurting us right now, is the injuries, specifically to the pitching squad, the bullpen, I should say, specifically the bullpen with Trey Savage and then obviously Shane Bieber. Like, that's a huge name being injured.
But you know who I'm very excited for is Okamoto.
Yeah,
third baseman. I'm very excited to see how he does in the majors. So. He was a KBO legend, KBO MVP too, I'm pretty sure.
And I like how aggressive we were in pursuing a guy like that. I think going into this year, one of the things that is different last year was we had the Vladdy situation hanging over our heads. He's locked up now. That's no more. And we also had the Bo Bichette thing going on too, because there were questions of where are we going to re-sign him? Was he going to leave? It depends on how we do the coming year. Obviously, they went to the World Series. Bo Bichette chose the contract. Steve Cohen's got a lot of money out there in New York, so he paid Bo Bichette quite handsomely. But we don't have the cloud of Vladdy hanging over us, and we're coming off a World Series appearance. So there's a lot to feel good about. But the thing that I'm really nervous about in terms of getting a really good start in the best division in baseball, by the way, is the injuries to the bullpen. So that needs to be monitored for sure. The sooner that these guys come back, the better. And if not, we need to be scouring the market in order to see what we can get in order to, patch up these holes until these guys can come back, because I really think a strong start in this division, there's going to be two of these teams in this division could win 90 games.
Like the Jays and the Yankees. You can get the Red Sox too.
Good. I think Roman Anthony's an MVP candidate for this upcoming year. Like, I love his game. The Rays are going through it a little bit right now. I'm not gonna lie, but
I'm not scared of the Rays. I'm Baltimore. They have glimpses of being good, so they can be very good too. The AL East is going to be one of the most competitive divisions in baseball. But I absolutely love who they brought in, the Toronto Blue Jays, with Dylan Cease, Cody Potts, Tyler Rogers. Tyler Rogers just being the relief pitcher is tremendous. This team does not lack depth, and it can hit. It can do it all. We've seen the firepower, and I think this is the type of organization we've seen it. They build off of success from one year, and they make it somehow a lot better the next. They love to build off success. And I think the Toronto Blue Jays are going to build off of so much success that they had in probably one of the most successful years in franchise history, minus the back-to-back World Series. But after that, this was by far the most successful season the Toronto Blue Jays have had. And it's their 50th anniversary as a ball club. Give me the Toronto Blue Jays to hit 97 wins this year.
97?
97 wins this year. First in the AL, and they're going all the way. After how last year ended, there's a sour taste in the Toronto Blue Jays whatever you call it, clubhouse. There's a sour taste in there. There's a sour taste in all of their mouths. The Toronto Blue Jays are going to be back in the World Series this year. It's going to be against the Dodgers because we already know why it's going to be against the Dodgers. Want to know why it's going to be against the Dodgers? Because they spent a lot of money. They're the richest team in the MLB. They pay everybody. They buy everybody. The Toronto Blue Jays will be meeting up with the Los Angeles Dodgers once again in the World Series. And this time, the Toronto Blue Jays are going to take it home this year. And that's what I believe. This team does not lack depth. If everything goes according to plan with lack of injuries, there's always going to be injuries, but they have the depth for it. But once the depth pieces start falling apart, this team will fall apart. But I think for the most part, if they could stay healthy on a consistent basis, you're going to see 97 wins from this team.
The potential's there. I'm just nervous because the injuries are already there to really valuable pieces of the bullpen. I have them at 89 wins, and I have the Yankees so far winning the division just because Garrett Cole is coming back, and the Yankees, they still have a tremendous roster. But it's going to be a dogfight of a division, and I think Toronto needs to pray that we get these injuries taken care of because we've just had so many of them, and the season hasn't even gotten underway yet. Like, so many injuries. Like Trey is Savage, nearly a World Series hero in terms of Toronto and Toronto baseball fans, but in the wider scope of things, a near World Series cult hero. Like, he's hurt. Shane Bieber, former Cy Young winner, he's hurt. As of right now, we have Gosman, he's a quality pitcher. Cease, who we're betting can be a difference maker for us.
He's going to be a difference maker. If he's not,
that's bad.
They're in trouble.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Max Scherzer, who's a 41-year-old,
but he was dicing. He was dicing in spring league ball.
Yeah, okay, but Eric Lauer, who wasn't even supposed to be in the first rotation, but he is now.
But when you say he's gonna take Savage's spot, or Savage is gonna take his spot when he comes back. But that's a great player to just put in. That's talking good depth for the Blue Jays.
I think it's okay depth. I think there's going to be a lot of holding on. But right out of the gate, they could start well. 3 very winnable series with the Athletics, the Rockies, and the White Sox. All 3 of them the Jays could beat. So we're seeing, that's out of those first, what would it be? Out of those first 8 games, because they only have a 2-game series against, I believe, the Rockies.
Yeah.
7-8 wins is not impossible. 8-0 is not impossible, but that's the kind of start you need.
And they're lucky they have back-to-back series against pretty weak teams. So
I'm coming off a World Series appearance. Hopes are high in this neck of the woods. We can't afford a petty race. We can't.
But I'm pumped up for the relief pitchers being Jeff Hoffman, Varland. Varland was, I honestly, a lot of people were saying that he was, it was up and down with him in the playoffs. I think he was tremendous in the playoffs. Adding Tyler Rogers in there with Braden Fisher, Brennan Little. Brennan Little was awesome in the World Series in the playoffs. Mason Fluharty, and then Eric Lauer. But Eric Lauer's in the starting rotation right now. But once he comes back, that is 7 relief pitchers that could take on any batter in the majors. And then obviously we have the starting pitchers. Six though is going to be is six starting pitchers is because of when one pitcher is having an up and down season, is inconsistent, you could see them easily out of the rotation. And I could see that being the 41-year-old Mad Max when he's going to be inconsistent at times just because of age. You can see whenever they feel like it, they're going to put Jose Barrios back in there. Barrios. But overall, this team is I really like this team. I think that they filled the holes tremendously in the offseason. This is a different team. There's hope back in Toronto. The hope that Toronto's been missing. Vladdy's playing at an all-time high. If we saw him in the WBC, this Toronto Blue Jays team is for real. I swear this team is gonna win 90+ games this year. After last year winning 94 games, I don't see it being impossible. But all that can happen. All that can just blow up the whole season is injuries. So now they all have to make sure that they're healthy and they are really taking care of their body and all of this, because we saw it. Injuries could derail a season just like that. I know it's 162 games, but it could just derail it like that. And in such a hard division, they got to make sure that they're healthy. They don't have to be healthy for all 162 games. But we need our heavy hitters playing majority of the season, though, like George Springer, Vladimir. We need those guys to play for the most. And we need to see this pitching rotation be on start high and be consistent all year. There's obviously going to be moments where they just absolutely stink up the joint. But I'm really pumped that they have re-signed Ross Atkins to a 5-year deal. Who else? Didn't they also do John Schneider? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did John Schneider too. And John Schneider, I don't really like the John Schneider one. I might be the only one that's not a fan of John Schneider. I think his decision makings at times are weak, are terrible, don't make a lot of sense. But I do gotta say though, he is one ballsy guy. A bullpen game in one of the biggest moment of the postseason. Like, hats off to him for pulling that off. But putting yourself in that situation, that's what kind of sucked.
Yeah, but the fact that it's a 2-year deal makes it a little bit more acceptable, just because it's not a colossal deal where it tethers you to him. Because you're right, he is very risk averse. So, but yeah, like hopes are high. That's something like, and going into it with the state of Toronto sports right now, the Raptors as of right now are the Blue Jays in what they were last year. We're hoping that the Raptors can hold on to a solid playoff position and not play in the play-in tournament. And then we're hoping we can go on a little bit of a run there. The Maple Leafs, they make us sad, but they always make us sad. And the Argos, we're kind of Argo fans. So we don't talk Argos.
We don't talk Argos football, but they are the most successful Toronto franchise. They are the best Toronto franchise.
They are. I can't. And there's no arguing with history. And but the Blue Jays coming off a World Series appearance, they're wonderful. It's a wonderful thing to look forward to, and it should be, depending on how we get going, I really hope it's going to be a fun summer in Toronto.
I think it's going to be a fun summer. It's their 50th season anniversary. 50 years of Toronto Blue Jays baseball. I absolutely love that to the max.
You going to hit a couple of games this year?
Yeah, 100%. I had a couple of games each year. Usually when it's the Looney Dog night or whatever, it's the Looney Hot Dog night. That's pretty nice. Eat a couple hot dogs, watch some baseball, have some beers. But yeah, like overall though, this is going to be a great year, I think, for the Toronto Blue Jays. But the one thing that I can see it being a failure is if they're like a first round exit. Like they're obviously the failure would be not making the playoffs. But like just after how far they made it last year, let's say they just make it to the wild card round and they get bounced in the wild card, it's like, oh, that's dust. That is dust. don't think it's going to happen. Like I said earlier, I think that this team's winning the World Series.
Um, it's possible. I just think a lot depends on how they finish the regular season. If they win the division title and they get that oh so sweet playoff position that usually comes to the New York Yankees, um, that's going to change a lot of things. And I think if we have to battle out of the wild card this year, that's not an enviable position to be in, especially if we can't get Bieber and the form that we know him for back for the postseason. Barrios, too, is a huge, huge piece of the bullpen, but he has a stress fracture in his elbow. So if he aggravates that in the game again, he could be out for another situation.
Yeah, that's what's going to be the difficult part about how you can how can you really you don't want to speed up time, obviously, but when you're such a big name like that, you kind of want them back you want them back instantly. Um, but I honestly think how spring training went and how it looked for all the new players that are wearing Toronto Blue Jays jerseys for the first time, and how the WBC went for a lot of the Toronto Blue Jays players. I think that's what the positive look at. I think they're going to start the season so fast. They're going to, like you said, there's a great chance that they start 7-0, 8-0. I honestly could see them totally doing that. I think where it's going to get tough is probably going to be the later half of the summer.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's when they have back-to-back hit months in like January. Not January, in January. In August. Let me search this up again. Pretty sure in August, that's where it just becomes really ridiculous of a schedule in the latter half of the.
I know we get the Dodgers early in April.
Yeah.
In Toronto.
August. Yeah, August is hard because you start August. So it goes. You start off in August with or St. Louis. Like that's okay. But then it goes Houston, Phillies, Red Sox, Yankees, Rays, but not really nervous of the Rays. Yankees again, Kansas City Royals, and those are always for some reason Kansas City always gives the Blue Jays a tough time.
I think Kansas City also has one, like, arguably the best young offensive core in the league.
And then
Junior, Vinny
yeah,
like these guys are good. Like these guys are really, really good. That 3-series stretch. What do you say? Houston, Philly,
yeah,
and
it goes Houston,
yeah.
Phillies, Red Sox, Yankees.
Oh,
That's just to start.
Oh,
That's literally just to start August, and then they go into a 3-game series with Tampa Bay, and then they're going
yeah.
back, and then they're in New York for a 3-game series with the Yankees, and then they're back at home for a 3-game series with the Royals, and then a 3-game series against Seattle to end off August. That month of August is ridiculously hard. It honestly makes the month of July very good. June is not the worst, not the best. Like you gotta go by like months. Like you gotta look at it like months. Like the Jays open up the season against in a 3-game series against the Athletics, a 3-game series against the Rockies, a 3-game series against the White Sox, and then they see the Dodgers on April 6th to the 8th. And then the Twins. Like, the season starts fantastic. But then you get the Dodgers, and I think that's going to be a feisty game.
It's going to be
a feisty series.
Yeah, it's going to be a test, that's for sure, to see how they're going to do. And it's also going to see, it's relatively early on in the season. It's in less than a month. So these guys will likely still be out. Like Bieber won't be coming back, like I said, till at least May. And then Barrios, I'm not sure. I doubt seriously he'll be back for the Dodgers series. So depending on how we perform against Los Angeles, we are going to be able to see how we do against a really good team while in an injury depleted situation, which championship winning baseball teams usually know how to win these games. So, but we need because the things that usually kill baseball teams and the momentum they have going into the month of October is those rough series, those stretches where it's just grueling matches against the league's best. And that 4 series stretch against those 4 teams, number one, if we are not in the position we want to be going into those series, and if we don't perform well, we are in trouble. We can't, there's no margin for error in this division. There is not a lot of ground to make up because there won't be any ground at all. If we are down for the count, it is going to be a dogfight, a race till the end. Because like Daniel thinks the Blue Jays are going to go to the World Series. I think there's hope. I'm not sure. I think the Yankees win this division. I don't think the Red Sox are anybody to play with. And like we said, the Orioles are super talented. They could either win 75 games or they could win 90. Like, the Orioles are good. They have a lot of talent on that team. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting season of the MLB. The Toronto Blue Jays are in a dogfight of the division. Obviously, it's gonna be like that forever. The AL East is no joke when it's producing talent. Bo Bichette leaving. He didn't look the greatest in spring training, but that happens when you join a new squad. The Toronto Blue Jays are gonna miss him. There's no question about it. I think they're gonna miss his offense and sort of his defense. But for the most part, we're gonna forget about this guy's name. If the season goes to according to plan, the Toronto Blue Jays fans and the Toronto Blue Jays are all gonna forget about him. But I gotta ask you this: when he makes his return to Toronto, or is he gonna get a warm welcome, or is he gonna get a boo?
I think he'll get a warm welcome.
Yeah.
I just think Jays fans, and especially with baseball, it's kind of like, it's a lot like soccer. And I'll explain why, in terms of the way that teams and clubs embrace and forever love the club legends. It's because those two sports are relatively different than football, basketball, and baseball. Not baseball, excuse me, hockey.
Yeah.
Because those sports require more of a team element than baseball and soccer do to win things. So individuals, players become legends. And like, you see it in soccer all the time. Like, individuals are sometimes, they could be a whole philosophy that a team incorporates, is an individualistic philosophy, in the fact where it's like, we have the best player in the world. Just give him the ball and let him do its thing. That's an individualistic approach, but it's widely embraced. In baseball, just because of the way that it is and the way that it's so mythical, and, you know, the Jays are the Jays, and it's the 50th anniversary. He's just coming off a World Series appearance with the team. He's been beloved for a while. For the entirety of his career in Toronto, I should say. He's a Blue Jay legend. So yeah, I believe that he is going to be embraced when he comes back to Toronto.
Yeah, I hope so. I think so too. I know if I was at that game, or if I'm at that game, I'll give him a nice little clap of the chair. But Bo Bichette, man, not gonna miss his attitude at times. That's for sure. His I don't care attitude. But overall, I'm excited to see what this pitcher rotation can do. It's deep. The bullpen's deep. The pitching, you could say sometimes, let the Jays down at times in the past. This year, I honestly don't think I don't think the pitching's gonna let the Blue Jays down. I think it's deep. I think it has depth, and everybody, like, when you have 6 starters, you can name 6 starters on this pitching rotation that is actually, it's terrific. And how deep the bullpen is with the relievers. This is going to be a tremendous year for the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm going to say it again, 97 wins. You have them at 89 wins. I got them winning the World Series. What do you got them at? Going to the playoffs, just getting bounced out early?
I see. Oh man, it largely depends on how we start the season out, but for the most part, I'm going to go with ALCS appearance right now. Is the extent of our season.
I'm totally down for that. Hopefully a World Series ring back to Toronto. Toronto's a better city when their teams are successful. When the Maple Leafs suck, the city sucks. Well, the Blue
Yeah,
Jays, though, but in the summer, when the Blue Jays are doing tremendous, it's
especially with World
fantastic.
Cup, with the
Yeah, and
World
the
Cup
world, oh my
too.
God.
This is going to be a good summer.
Toronto is going to be on fire.
Yeah, it's going to be a. I I wouldn't have planned any major events in the city from June to August
Do
this
not
year.
go and drive into Toronto. Take the GO train if you're smart.
For that
Take the
2 month
GO train.
stretch from June to August, you take that go train.
Yeah, you from June to August, maybe even September. See how the Blue Jays are going. But the Raptors, they're doing good this year, so that's the good part. I know I was going to talk about a little bit of the playoff picture for the NBA, and the NHL, but we could always do that next episode on Thursday. But I want to talk about, we had a great conversation yesterday's episode. If you guys haven't seen yesterday's episode, skip to like, I don't know, the 50th minute mark to beyond. We had a great conversation about NCAA, NIL, and I want to continue that conversation on how NIL is being used because we don't have much time left. But I know yesterday, just to reinstate what I said on how to break or how to fix the NIL, and I want to hear your thoughts on how to fix the NIL, and then we're going to go into college football for a sec. But the NIL, like, what would you do to fix it? Because how I would fix the NIL is, because I was thinking about this too last night. I think I said something around salary cap. No, get rid of the salary cap. No salary cap in my mind, but don't boosters and schools should not be able to sign these kids to, hey, yo, you come play for our school, you get $100 million, you get a bunch of money. No, you sign autographs, we'll pay you $30K, depending on how good you are and how much your autographs are going to be selling for. You will get, let's say, do you want to do sports cards? And we're gonna have a sports card of you, like a football card, or if you're a basketball player, basketball card, sports card. Sports card, bang. There's 10K for you. We're going to use your name, image, and likeness, sign a couple cards, put them in packs. Whoever pulls them, that's going to be 5K going right to you because you make that. So that's 15K you can just make off of cards.
Yeah.
Now go make 30, 50K off of your jersey sales. You get half of it. You get half of what the school makes. So school gets 50%, you get 50%. Let's say they sell $1 million worth of your jersey, you get $500,000 worth of your jerseys, and then that. You don't got to pay them to be like, hey, here's $8 million to do just to show up at the school. Don't give them. They have to do stuff to earn that money. I know perform on the football field is enough to some people, but these kids are 18 years old, 19-year-olds. They're transferring all over the school. Name, image, and likeness. And you're allowed to do brand deals. You can do brand deals. You can go, instead of working, you're going to go do brand deals because you're a fantastic athlete and you're going to post it on your Instagram. They're going to pay you how much, whatever they pay you, 20K or whatever. But getting paid to play a sport like you're already a pro is ridiculous to me. I think that's the best way to handle NIL.
For me, it would be I would go salary cap, but it would be based on the conference and the amount of revenue that each school generates combined as a whole. That and then you develop the salary cap based on those revenue totals because if these schools like let's say like obviously the Big Ten and the SEC are the two richest conferences, they obviously have more money. They make more money than schools
Yeah,
in the
let's say that's like for the like for the SEC salary cap like $30 million. Like the Big Ten like $20 million, and then like the MAC like $5 million.
You would have to do it fair. You'd have to do it fair. And you would still get people that are fans of these smaller schools, these group of five schools who would come at you and they would say, "Oh, like it's still not fair for us." And you would get that argument, but from the national sense, it's going to take a ton more to change the playing field. But we don't want it to be like the NFL. We want this to be, you know, almost like March Madness for football because that's the way it's going. We want our quote unquote Cinderella schools. So whatever, your Boise States, not Tulane or anything like that. These schools, these Boise States from 2024 that you actually fall in love with, you want them to play well up until the point that you don't. And then simply you just want to watch the best players hammer the ever loving crap out of each other in front of a nationally televised audience. It's awesome. I love it too. But I think developing a salary cap, because the money comes from collectives, and these collectives are outside influences that and there's a saying that's going around right now. The way to win in college football is you either got to have oil money, see Texas Tech, or you got to have tech money, see Michigan or Stanford, things at schools like that. Schools that where the money is coming from are coming from people who have made their money in tech and oil. That is the way that it is going right now. And it's so far the 12-team playoff has been spectacular, but I'm willing to bet that in the future it's going to make it more and more of an unlevel playing field, depending on which donors decide to support which schools and who's getting all of this money. There has to be some form of regulation here, or the NCAA just enforces a very strict form of regulation, and they do it through, I don't know, like penalties, obviously, that these schools would get if they come into infraction of them. But there would have to be a way to monitor each school, and then obviously like the NCAA, like it can't be too strict, because the whole point of NIL and paying players in the first place was that the whole thing before was way too damn strict. So now you got to find a way to meet in the middle, regulate this madness that is going on, because like you have players transferring during the college football playoff. You have coaches doing double duty,
and you have kids also taking out like redshirt years. Like they're taking redshirt years just to, oh, I'm not going to be the starter next year. I'm just going to go move because I didn't like what the coach said to me yesterday.
Yeah, it's
broken. The system is broken. You could also, though, give it to this. Like we're going to trade. I think this is just going to be a whole conversation as a whole with college football and NIL. A whole thing you could also do. Commissioner. There's obviously, I know there's conference commissioners. You get rid of the conferences. Make every single sport one ginormous league. Just one ginormous. That's literally what you're gonna have to do. Make one commissioner, one salary cap. Everyone has a fair playing field. I think that would be the best way to do your salary cap issue.
It's going to take a monumental effort and a monumental idea to do it. Man, it's just the only thing that I don't know that would work about that is that the various universities and the conferences which they play in, they're in business with the media companies that pay them all this money. And that I don't believe has anything to do with the NCAA as a whole. So the NCAA, I don't think, has anything they can't say anything about it.
So anything about what? Taking away the conferences? Or taking away the media?
Yeah, well, yeah, like actually.
Well, they can. It's their league. It's their league. They can take out the conferences. The media rights, they'll figure it out after. But like, it's NCAA. The NCAA can do anything they want.
No, but ESPN, like that's the whole.
Well, yeah, ESPN owns like basically the SEC.
Well, they.
But like that NCAA overall owns it all.
Sure, yeah, but like, the NCAA, like, are they willing to get into, for lack of a better phrase, a pissing match with ESPN?
Yeah, the NCAA. Well, actually, to be honest, the NCAA doesn't care about anything. They're gonna let all of the. They're the reason why college sports is a complete joke right now to a viewer like us. Like college football, college sports in a whole is a complete joke. We grew up to watching the purest form of football. It used to be in the NCAA. The college kids playing it for the love of the game, for the drive to go and make their lives better and make it to the NFL. Now college football is an absolute joke. college athletics is an absolute joke, and NCAA did that. They don't care about one bit. They just see a lot of money being thrown everywhere. Them being the kings, but there was so to make just I would like to say college athletics a lot more enjoyable to everything would have to be insert a salary cap, like you said, because I think that's great. But it would have to be one commissioner, one whole league. Like you have to run it like pros. Like you have to run it like the pros, or this is gonna get crazy. Like, we're not gonna have a Josh Allen story anymore. Go to a literally a just a mid, just the definition of mediocre program, and make him be one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. Like, you're never gonna have a story like that. Yeah, I know you have a few stories of quarterbacks coming out of like the FCS, like North Dakota State, but you're not gonna have that anymore. The last form of pure football we have left is Division 2, 3, and maybe the FCS. That's the last form of pure football we have. Purist.
I think the issue is like with these, like, if you want to use the term mid-major, these mid-major schools, I think the issue is players coming in and playing 1 year there, having success, and then booting and going to another school that's willing to A, give them the same amount of playing time, B, have better prospects in terms of winning, and C, more importantly, pay them more money.
Yeah.
I think it's
also another thing you could do there is just you can only transfer once. The next time you transfer, you have to sit out a year, just like normal transfer rules. But at least this time you get one free transfer.
Yeah, I mean, I think the issue would be magnified if we had, like, if Jeremiah Smith transferred, then I think we start talking about this, and especially if it comes out that he transferred to school for a bigger NIL package, or Arch Manning decides, you know what, I'm going to Georgia, or I'm going to LSU to play for Lane Kiffin, and Lane has paying him more money, and because we don't know exactly how much these guys make in terms of, like, there's not a readily available data.
But you can kind of just guess how much money they're making. Like, you can just guess.
There's NIL valuations, and then it comes out later on the exact figures of what they're making, or it's just broken in the form of a report when someone finds out. But yeah, it's like you were saying, to wrap it up, the purest form of what we knew and loved as college football in our childhood, we're going to have to accept that we're never going to see it again.
Yep.
As a whole, we're never going to see it again. And I think we have to let go of that in order to embrace what we hope can be a better product. You know, we're hoping that what we're seeing right now with the scheduling and the NIL and just all these controversies going on, we're hoping that this is things are being worked out, and there's a plan being made, and sooner or later we're going to be able to right these wrongs, and then all of a sudden consistencies will happen, and college football will become a smoother sport in terms of the scheduling and the NIL, and just players jumping ship at almost absurd times of the season, where it's like Mike Tomlin, like, we knew that likely this was going to be his last year in Pittsburgh. Imagine Mike Tomlin says, I'm leaving the Steelers at the end of the season, and then the Steelers make the playoffs, and then Mike Tomlin signs to coach for the Ravens in the middle of the playoffs, or actually before the playoffs. Let's say the news gets leaked. Everybody knows that Mike Tomlin, who is leaving Pittsburgh, is going to go coach Baltimore at the end of the season. And then he stays and coaches Pittsburgh in the playoffs, with everybody knowing that he's going to their hated rival next year. That is how messed up college sports is.
Especially basketball, where they could have these NBA players come in and play, or they're G League players, but they have had, I think they just got like a couple of NBA draft picks from this past draft, went back and played college basketball after playing in the G League.
I think college basketball, there's deeper issues, like the one and dones. Long are gone.
But I like the one and dones. I like the one and dones. Like 18 years old, because honestly, if I was the NBA commissioner, you could take these kids right out of high school.
Yeah, but it completely eliminates the possibility of dynasties with the same core because everybody's just leaving, like AJ DeBanza. Like that's huge for BYU, who is notably a football school. They don't have much basketball
Yeah,
success.
yeah, and like when's the next time they're gonna get a ginormous prospect like that? Probably in the next like 10 years, maybe in the next decade.
Yeah, or how about 2021 Gonzaga? Because we're talking about Gonzaga yesterday and Mark Few. How about if that core had stayed together with Jalen Suggs, who had left to go to the NBA for the year after? What if that core stayed together for 2022?
Yeah.
What if they had won the championship that year? That possibility is no more because the top high school recruits coming in to play college basketball, they aren't staying around. They're packing up and they're going to become NBA draft picks, and that is what they're going. That's how it goes. That's how it works. It's
But I like
that.
what I like is it's been like that for a long time. Either you're coming out of high school or you're one and done in college. It's been like that for a long time. So I kind of like it could
Yeah.
stay the same there. College football is the worst. The worst. The worst because A, the transfer dates, the transfer portal opening and how they do the coaching carousel, it's like I don't know, it's like a 4-year-old designed the system. It is so beyond broken. That's an absolute joke. The committee can't even get 12 teams right. Everyone feels like they belong in the playoffs. No, they don't. If the easiest thing they could do is do the FCS model for playoffs. That would fix a lot of the system or a lot of the controversies. Best 25 teams in. If you're in the 25, you got to go to the playoffs. But with NIL is just broken. I think it ruined probably football. It ruined basketball for sure. It's just a complete joke. It's not even. It's literally at points. Like still, football's football. So when college football's on, it's amazing. Like I'll always tune in. But there's gonna get a point. There is going to get to a point in the next like 3 to 5 years where it's gonna become absolutely unwatchable. Where these kids that come from nothing finally make like $5 million, and then they suck at football then because they don't care about football. They don't train like how Ray Lewis used to train. They don't train how like Chad Ochocinco or Shannon Sharp or how the guys in the NFL probably, I want to say today, because there are not really many guys training as hard as the OGs in the early 2000s are training. But there's going to be a time and day. Like, look at Ryan Williams.
Yeah.
That's a prime example. This guy is an absolute ghost on Alabama. An absolute ghost. He got his pay. He did his ad deals. He did all of it. Where did his football ability go? Oh, yeah, this guy forgot to train in one off season. It looks like. And you want to know why he probably did that? Because he was probably making so much money that the whole entire after the football season ended, he wasn't going to class. He was going to Cabo or whatever. He was doing some vacations. Training? What is that to these kids that make it? So that's why I think football is going to be an absolute drop off because of it. You're going to spit, but the kids that don't care about it, money, I just love it for the peer, love it the game, they're always going to be the same. They're always going to be the best. That's right. They're always going to be the top dogs. That's what I like. That's what I cannot wait to see. But there's going to be it's going to be receivers. You're going to see receivers drop off because they're like Jeremiah Smith. I am so glad that guy is in it for the pure love of football because that guy could easily been a Ryan Williams situation and been a ghost at Ohio State this past season because he already made his money. He already done all this. He's a national champion. What else does he have to do? He could have easily just be like, you know what, falling off. No, he wants to go become the #1 pick in the NFL draft next draft in 2027. And that's why those are the type of players that are always going to have my respect because in this day and age, you don't know if a player loves the game or just in it for money. Obviously, you play the game at a high level to be the best for the money, but in college, you're trying to go to the NFL. So who's in it just to go to college and who's in it to go from college to the NFL? And I think in 5 years, you're going to see many players from high school just go to college and be like, I don't care about the NFL. And that's where the sport's going to drop off.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be different if Jeremiah Smith like got his bag, won the championship, and then like let's say went back home to Florida and then went to Miami. But I don't know. To me, it kind of makes it a little bit exciting too because Jeremiah Smith could still be the number one pick if he played for someone else.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying this guy could have just dropped off and been terrible. Like he could have just gave up on football and not having any fun.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not, I'm not saying this guy was gonna go transfer or anything. Like I'm
oh,
saying
okay,
Ryan,
well,
I was saying Ryan Williams. Look what he did. He did not train last offseason. He was too busy, doing dumb TikToks and not training to
yeah.
be a Division I athlete. Jeremiah Smith was. I'm saying if Jeremiah Smith could have easily just been like, forget about training. I'm a national champion. I already made my money. I'm not going to play football at a high level, or I'm not going to care about playing football at a high level anymore. But no, he wants to play. He wants to continue playing football at a high level. He wants to go to the NFL. Ryan Williams, who knows if this guy even wants to go to the NFL after how bad his season was this year at Alabama, and that's just because this guy, his offseason, it looked terrible because from that first game of Alabama this year, then that last season at Alabama was so last season, his first freshman year season, he was great. And then now this year, what happened? I don't know. He looked terrible. I'm just going to answer that he was too busy doing TikToks instead of training. And that's the guy that you're going to be like, I made so much money in college with just my name. I'm not even going to have to worry and depend on the NFL anymore. Jeremiah Smith, this guy loves football. This guy's purebred a football guy. He doesn't care how much money he makes in college. He still wants to go achieve his dreams and go in the NFL. Ryan Williams is a total different guy.
I think it's just everything has changed because now you're giving 18-year-olds millions of dollars. So things are bound to be chaotic.
Yeah. It's a sick world we live in. Football as we knew it, is not pure. But I'll say the best football game that I watched all year doesn't even come in that BS. It's the FCS National Champion in Nashville. That was the best football game that I've watched all year. I still talk about this game. I think I talked about it when you first came onto the show, probably back in like November or it had to be December.
No, I remember this. I remember the conversation.
The greatest game, the most electrifying game that I've seen in a long time in college football. That was a pure football game for those guys that love it. They're still playing at the D1 level. They were playing in an FCS conference. And then that got me thinking, the FCS does their playoffs so correct. I love it. I love the playoff format. If college football and the FBS wants to be like that, they're going to have to adapt to FCS. Because FBS, compared to the FCS, is a mess. It's an absolute mess. And they got two different guys, two different systems. I don't understand how that all works, but it is crazy how the FCS looks like, and obviously doesn't have the better players, but it just is a better watch in my eyes than the FBS because it's how pure it is.
Something's got to be done. That's all that's all I got to say.
You ever hear Nick Saban talk?
About this situation?
Yeah, like about NIL, about college football and the state it's at. Like you ever hear him talk on college football game day about it?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't remember,
where he says like there needs to be a commissioner, and that's where my commissioner thoughts come from. Because if Nick Saban, the greatest college coach of all time, is saying, "Hey, there needs to be a commissioner. We need to do it like this. All the commissioners need to come together once and make maybe a council, just one council." Or something like this. And I think every time Nick Saban talks about NIL, or even every time you just hear an OG, original, a legendary coach, if it's basketball, baseball, football, talk about the NIL and in the modern situation of college athletics, you listen because they have great points. Because they coached when these players are getting nothing but a free education. Obviously, they were making money in other ways, signing their autograph or doing the Johnny Manziel specials. But for the most part, though, NIL needs to be fixed. There's multiple ways that they could fix it. It won't happen in 1 year. It'll take probably 3 years. If they want to fix it today, it'll take 3 years to fix in total. College football is broken beyond, and it's just terrible. it is just so corrupt. We got ESPN doing the biasness on the SEC year in and year out, and it's honestly ruining it because what is it? They're telling me a terrible SEC school, the last place SEC school or whatever, middle of the pack SEC school would beat any other team in any other conference? No. But ESPN thinks so. College football in a whole needs to relax. I don't know when NCAA went from being the most strictest team of all time, or yeah, I would say team committee NCAA, because the NCAA used to be strict. You weren't even supposed. You couldn't even drink certain drinks.
Oh.
You couldn't even talk to certain people.
You can get tattoos.
You couldn't even you couldn't even wear certain equipment.
Yeah.
And you actually had to go to school. When did they become not strict? They were like, you know what, now everybody can get paid and make a profit off of your name and image and likeness. And we're just going to go and sit back and just relax. We're not going to enforce any rules, but we know what else we're also going to do? You can play college football for a 6th year. You can play college sports for a 7th year. You can play, you're 40? Congrats. Come back for your 41st year as a college athlete. College football, the NCAA is the most corrupt place of all time, organization of all time. And that's why I'll still stick it to this day. As a Canadian, I am so glad that the youth sports is pure still. Even though you can only watch a couple games because they're stupid over there too, youth sports, where you have to put all the games behind a paywall. That is ridiculous. The stupidest thing ever. Is this world going to shit or what? I gotta say that. Is this sports world going just downhill, going right down a drain?
It's going horrible.
Because think about this. OUA, the best football conference in youth sports. We're gonna wrap this up right after I say this. Youth sports, or OUA, is the best conference in youth sports, right?
Yeah, it's the most competitive for sure too.
Yeah. So it's the best.
Yeah.
Now they put the games behind a paywall.
For so much money too, like for
so much money. It's like $9 to watch one game. I used to watch this game for free. Why would I pay $9 to watch Queens versus Western or Laurier versus like any other school like Guelph? Like, I don't care that much. But I couldn't watch it. The most part that ticked me off is when I couldn't watch the OUA playoffs this year. That ticked me off the most. And our world's broken, man. It's broken. Sports world in Canada is down the hill. College football is broken. But at least the NFL is at an all-time high. The NHL is still the NHL. The NBA, they're trying to fix their problems. They're never going to fix their problems because basketball players, they flop for a living. MLB baseball is pure still. Sometimes I miss the cheating allegations, and sometimes I wish they would bring back the steroids because home runs are the best part of the game. But we do got to end this. That's Nick Tazio. I'm Daniel Federico. This has been a great discussion about Mo Salah leaving Liverpool, the Toronto Blue Jays season preview, and how broken college athletics are. This has been the Daniel Federico Show. Ciao.